Back, sports fans. In this segment, I'm going to talk a little bit and update you on what I found out about Tiger Woods' crash back in February. Apparently, at some point after impact, and assuming, of course, it was after he regained consciousness and before he ended up at the hospital, and I forgot what the name of it is. I know it was UCLA Medical Center or something like that. But before he wound up there, apparently Tiger Woods thought he was in Florida. There was an empty pill bottle found in his vehicle at the time of the crash. And apparently what happened is the reason he hit the sign in the median is because instead of going around the curve, as he was supposed to do, he went straight. No brakes were applied. We've known that for some time because of the skid marks. And apparently he went into shock. Also, it was determined that apparently he was knocked unconscious during the collision, which may have given him amnesia. Whether or not I believe that remains to be seen, but according to the report, not only was he knocked unconscious, but he had lacerations to his lower front jaw, and his right and left rib cage were bruised, which is understandable considering the airbag deployed, which is the very thing that probably saved his life, most likely. Also, it fractured his right tibia and fibula, and he had a right ankle injury, which we've known about for some time. Of course, all this is the reason why he's not playing at the Masters this year, aside from the fact of his back, which we don't know what the accident has done to it, and this report didn't clarify that by any means. But Tiger Woods has said he is looking to come back to play. How long a recovery period he's looking at, I have no idea, but I would not be surprised if it took him sometime between a year and 18 months to recover from it. The problem is, by that time, he's going to be 46 in December, and he may be close to 46 and a half by the time he comes back. And while he's been a miracle person and he's done some extraordinary things, if he manages to come back from this and he's still anywhere close to being competitive at an age where most golfers aren't, and bear in mind Jack Nicklaus was 46 when he won his last major, which was his 6th green jacket. In any event, apparently Tiger Woods did not know where he was because he got knocked unconscious. And because of the accident, according to Carlos Gomez, who was the deputy on scene, Carlos Gonzalez rather, my apologies, it was not possible for the deputy to give Tiger Woods a breathalyzer test. And obviously he couldn't have him walk around to see if he'd been drinking. But apparently there was no smell of alcohol. However, an empty pill bottle, and by the way I forgot to mention with no labeling, is very interesting. We know that Tiger Woods has had problems with medication in the past. I believe that was the cause of or it played a role in him crashing the vehicle when he got into an argument with his then wife before they were divorced, and I'm referring to Elin. So while it was not determined ultimately while it was determined that he was not impaired while driving, it does beg the question of what's with the empty pill bottle that's unlabeled. Also, according to the fire department, they observed that Tiger Woods' pupils, and this is a quote, and this is the quote part, not pinpoint and not restricted, which would have been indicative of narcotic analgesic influence. Assuming that means he'd been under the influence of a narcotic, means it eliminates that. However, that doesn't eliminate non-narcotic medication, and he very well could have taken something with that. He could have taken a decongestant for all we know. Something obviously happened, but it's hard for me to fathom that Tiger Woods would be driving along a curve and just go straight, which really does not make any sense to me. In any event, that's about what the report said. If anything, it probably doesn't clear a lot up for most of us and has us asking and having more questions than we do answers. I think what would clear it up the most is if Tiger Woods would actually speak, even if he had to do so from his bed, to address this situation, because unlike the car crash that happened back in 2009, I believe it was, late 2009, I don't think this is going to go away. That really didn't, and I always wondered about that, but this one I would think would dog him for some time until he addresses it, to be sure. In the next segment, I will give you the tee times for the leaders tomorrow, and I will wrap up the second round of the Masters coverage, or my Masters coverage in doing so. Stay tuned to Sports with Ed's 2021 Masters Wrap-Up on Ed's Sports Channel.